Today is November 30th, 2023. So all the stats that I give you are going to be based on the stats that I have right now. But in today's video, we're going to be ranking every starting point guard. So if they're not a starting point guard, they're not going to be on this. I know there's a lot of good point guards that come off the bench, but if they're not on the official starting lineup, then they're not ranked. But we got almost 30 players to rank, so let's get right into it. Let's start off at number 30 with the worst point guard in the NBA. That's a starting point guard, Jeremy Sohan. Don't need an explanation here. So let's go to 29, Ben Simmons. There's way too small of a sample size for Ben Simmons. Way too much uncertainty around him. I don't even know how he's a starting point guard right now. I do believe Dinwiddie should be the starting point guard. But yeah, anyways, the official lineups that I was using, Ben Simmons is starting point guard. And he's the second worst, only better than Jeremy Sohan. And then at 28, I have Markelle Fultz. He's only played in 5 games this year. And again, way too small of a sample size to give a fair ranking. At number 27, I have Keontae George, and I haven't really been surprised with what I've seen from him so far in his rookie year, except for the fact that he's been a very, very good playmaker. Now, if you remember, his biggest criticism coming into the draft was that he's not a strong playmaker. Well, has the highest assist per game total among all rookies. So, yeah. And he earned himself the starting point guard spot after coming off the bench. So there's a lot of promise in this young player. But for right now, he is number 27 ranked point guard in the NBA. At 26, I have Kobe White, who I was expecting a very big year from. But then I remembered he played for the Chicago Bulls. So yeah, he's at 26. To start off tier 6, we have Tyus Jones. I'm struggling to comprehend whether the fact that he's been a little disappointing compared to what my expectations and a lot of people's expectations were for him, knowing that he was going to be a starter this year. I don't know whether it's got a lot to do with the fact that he plays for the Wizards or he's just not living up to expectations. But yeah, he's at 25. And then you could argue Tyus Jones has been better than Kyle Lowry this year, but Kyle Lowry's been more essential to a better team, and that's really why I have him ahead of Tyus Jones at 24. Mike Conley is the most underrated point guard in the NBA right now. Obviously, the Timberwolves are very, very good this year, but the Timberwolves are 10 points better with him on the court versus when he's off. And he doesn't get much recognition for it unless they're Timberwolves fans. I'm not a Timberwolves fan. I do like watching them play. And so I've noticed Mike Conley's impact, and I wanted to put him higher, but I couldn't put him too high given his stats. But if you look at all the things that don't show up on the stats, he's a lot better than people give him credit for. I had a hard time choosing between Malcolm Brogdon and Dennis Schroeder for this next spot. They've had very similar season stats. Yeah, they're both averaging at least 16.6 assists and playing quality defense at night. But I don't know if Brogdon's stats are really empty stats because he plays on a way worse team than the Blazers. Even though when he's been playing for the Blazers, the games that he's been playing in, they look a lot better as a team, which has a lot to do with him. But Dennis Schroeder has been very, very valuable and one of the best, most underrated signings for the Raptors. And that's why I take Dennis Schroeder, because the Raptors didn't have him. They would be feeling the Van Vliet loss a lot more than they are. D'Angelo Russell has been one of the most impressive players for me. Averaging 17 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds a game. But the most impressive part about D'Angelo Russell this year is that he's shooting 49% from the floor and 42% from 3. Now, we all know he's historically a very inefficient player, but that's good efficiency for him, especially from 3. 42% from 3, that's really, really good. I wanted to put him a lot higher, but again, the point guard's position is really loaded. If I had him listed as a shooting guard, he'd probably be in the top 15. He might be in the top 15. No, he's 20th right now. He's been very, very good this year and very, very impressive to me. And speaking of historically inefficient players, Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet now plays for the Rockets, if you didn't know. He's at 19 for me. He's still been very inefficient, but he's averaging 9 assists a game, which I was not expecting. But I do expect it to drop down to within the 6 or 7 assist range. And if that number does drop, I'll have D'Lo ahead of him. But given that number and how much he's helped the Rockets take a leap this year, I have to put Van Vliet ahead of D'Lo for now. Y'all know I don't like James Harden. I don't respect him as a basketball player. And from what I've seen on this season, I can finally confidently say he's not in the top 10 point guards. And he's moving down to 18. He has not been good this year. Obviously, he'll probably move up if he starts playing better. But for now, let me have this win and have him at 18. And then CJ McCollum, who's unfortunately only played 7 games this year. But in those 7 games, he's averaging 21 points, 5.6 assists, and almost 5 rebounds a game. Very impressive numbers, right? But what's more impressive, the Pelicans are 5-2 with him playing and 5-7 without him. So he has an undeniable impact, and that is why he's ahead of Harden, because we all know how bad the Clippers have been since they got Harden, even though it's a chemistry issue for now. But yeah, CJ McCollum, he's been very, very good in the games he's played. And if he didn't get hurt, I think the league and the media would be showing him a lot more respect. Cade Cunningham is lucky he's averaging 22 points a game, because he'd probably be lower than Fred VanVleet and D'Angelo Russell. But I will cut him some slack. He does play for the Pistons. They are terrible. And I know we think he hasn't lived up to the hype due to his very, very poor inefficiency, which is very, it's very worrisome, right? But he's still averaging 22 points and 7 assists a game. And he's playing for the Pistons that are not very good. So, as much as we want to talk about his inefficiency, there's not really much around him. And for that, the spacing's terrible, so he can't get easier looks and stuff like that. So, I'm cutting Cade slack here and put him at, where did I put him at? 16? Yeah, 16. That's what it says, right? Better say 16. And then, controversially, at 15 is Jrue Holiday. And I know, he doesn't have the same numbers as a lot of players that I've ranked him ahead of. But, when you think about Jrue Holiday, he is the best guard defender in the NBA. Not one point guard can do what he does. It's that simple. Not one point guard. Not one point guard's guarding Joel Embiid. He guarded Joel Embiid when they played the Sixers the first game. I mean, obviously they lost. Al Horford is obviously a better matchup, but Jrue Holiday was guarding Embiid. Jrue Holiday guards everybody. And that's why, because you think about it, right now, he's averaging 12 points a game, maybe 5 assists, 5 rebounds maybe. Hold up, let me check, actually. Jrue Holiday's averaging 12.4 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 5 assists a game right now, while guarding the best player every night. None of the players can do what Jrue Holiday's doing, and those numbers are down because his role is smaller. But no one's as good as Jrue Holiday's top 15 point guard. I'm a defensive person. Like, players that can play defense, I really show a lot of respect to. And Jrue Holiday is the best defender in the league. One of them. And now we enter tier 4, which is basically definitive stars of the league. And I have Bradley Beal. He has a really small sample size, and that's why he's not ahead of the players in this tier. And then at 13, we have Darius Garland, who's been very disappointing statistically. And you could say he should be lower, and I wouldn't even be mad if we're basing off 2024 season. But you also got to cut him some slack because he's been dealing with injuries. At 12, I have Trae Young. It's going to be controversial. There's going to be a lot of people that are mad about it. But when I look at the box score every night for my weekly power rankings, I look at every game. I see 7 for 28 shooting. The inefficiency is so bad. I don't care what numbers he puts up. And then, I know, he gets assists. He averages a bunch of turnovers. He scores as many points as shots he takes on nights. He averages 25 points on 25 shots. That's not good. He averages 14 assists some nights on 5 or 6 turnovers. That's not good. I mean, anybody that has good feel for the game of basketball knows that Trae Young is not a good player. and he hasn't been good this year. Can't guard anybody either. And yeah, I get he's very clutch. He's a good clutch player, but there's a time and place when you hurt your team more. It doesn't matter how clutch you are. And then at number 11, I have Jamal Murray. He's averaging 16 points and 7 assists on 41% shooting from the floor, which isn't very good, but 42% from 3. And yes, looking at those stats, he should be way lower. But he's proven himself, unlike every other player, essentially. And the Nuggets are 7-1 when he plays, and 6-5 without him this year. At 10, I have Tyrese Maxey, who is averaging 27 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds on 46% shooting from the field and almost 40% from 3. We all know he's been very, very good this year. But I think the biggest reason I have him in the top 10 is because, again, efficiency. His role has gotten 10 times larger, and he's still one of the most efficient players in basketball. You don't get that from a lot of players. And that efficiency, I don't think people understand how important efficiency is, though. And I know I'm gonna stab myself in the back and eat my own words when I talk about Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox, but you'll get to what I have to say in a minute here. And then at 9, I have Jalen Brunson. Brunson is averaging 24 points, 5 assists, and about 4 rebounds a game on 46% shooting from the floor and 47% from 3. 47% from 3 is crazy. He's easily the best player on the Knicks. If there is ever any doubt, there shouldn't be. Now we get into my favorite tier to talk about right now. I have 4 players: Ja Morant, Tyrese Halliburton, LaMelo Ball, and De'Aaron Fox. Ja Morant is at 8 because he hasn't played yet, and if he does prove himself to be what we all know him, he will be the 5th best point guard in the NBA in my eyes. And then next is LaMelo Ball. I have never been a fan of his game. I don't like watching LaMelo Ball play, but I do have to give him credit. He's averaging 25 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds before he got hurt, and this has been his most efficient year of his career. But yet the media has not talked about him as much as they have in the past, which is kind of hilarious to me, but I'm not complaining since, again, I don't like his game. I don't like watching him play, but I do feel bad that he's been dealing with injuries. And now, moment y'all been waiting for, Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox. Halliburton's stats are 26 points, 12 assists, and 4 rebounds a game, shooting 52% from the field, 46% from 3. Amazing efficiency. Fox is averaging 30 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds while shooting 49% from the field and 36% from 3, which is not good. So, obviously, you look at stats, Tyrese Halliburton is better. But the stats don't show everything, as I've said before in this video. Now, let me just ask y'all. So, I'm assuming a lot of you played basketball or know simple things about basketball, right? How many of y'all have guarded the best player on the opposing team and then been the one-option scorer? And do you know how tiring that is to do? And anytime you get tired, what happens? You're not as efficient, right? Well, De'Aaron Fox has guarded Steph Curry every time they played the Warriors. He's in their starting lineup. So there's no one else in the starting lineup for the Kings that can defend outside of De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox guards Steph Curry, chases them around the whole game, right? And then he's the one option, and Sabonis against the Warriors, or against any team really that has a big body, is useless. So it's all De'Aaron Fox, and he has to take more shots. And when you take more shots, you become more inefficient. Now, I think offensively, the Pacers are a way better team than the Kings this year. And that's because you got Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin, Miles Turner, Obi Toppin. Those players are better offensively, in my eyes, than Kevin Huerter this year, who's not been good. Keegan Murray, who has not been great all year. I mean, they just haven't had their this year. They haven't been good specifically. They've been very inefficient, and they're supposed to be 3-point shooters. Then you look at Harrison Barnes. Do you really expect much? And then you look at Domantas Sabonis, who is hit or miss. So there's more for Fox to do offensively. And you know the Kings are a terrible defensive team, but yet he guards the best guard on every team almost, with the exception of Luka Doncic, but I'm pretty sure he guards Kyrie against the Mavericks. So De'Aaron Fox will be the one option on offense and be guarding the best guard on defense. And I know Tyrese Halliburton's not doing that because Bruce Brown, anytime I've watched the Pacers game, Bruce Brown is guarding the best guard. So yes, Tyrese Halliburton is way more efficient, but his usage rate on offense is higher, yes, or it might be lower. I don't know about those stats, but he doesn't play both ends of the floor as well as De'Aaron Fox. Now, I know Tyrese Halliburton is a good defender. I'm not taking away from his defensive ability. He's a good defender, but he's not guarding the best player and then doing all this stuff on offense. That's why I have De'Aaron Fox over him, and that's why I think De'Aaron Fox is the better point guard right now. And that's just my personal opinion. And they're 1A and 1B. Like when it comes to this tier and it comes to these two players, like whichever one you pick is going to be good. So don't be trashing on the other one. I mean, I know I was trying not to talk down on Tyrese Halliburton. He's a good defender too. But my biggest reason, outside of the fact of everything we know about De'Aaron Fox, is that De'Aaron Fox guards the best and is the best on offense, while Halliburton doesn't really guard the best, but is the best on offense. That I'll just leave it at that. If you want to hear more about my thoughts, I'll link a video at the end where I talk about De'Aaron Fox being a top 5 point guard. And then I feel the top 4 point guards should be the same for everyone, just in different orders. Damian Lillard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, and Steph Curry. And at 4 I have Dame. Stats have taken a hit this year, but he is learning a new role and a new system, and he's still one of the clutchest players in the NBA. Fourth quarter is in fact game time, and that has been proven still. And then at 3 I have SGA. Shouldn't really need an explanation there. He's a phenomenal two-way player, and he averages 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists a night. Not going to get much better. And at 2 I have Luka Doncic, and I know a lot of y'all have Luka over Curry, but until Luka proves himself to be a winner like Steph Curry and proves himself to not argue as much about the calls and puts more effort in on the defensive end, I will not put him at number 1 until Steph Curry ages out. And yeah, that's why I think Curry's better. I just like Curry's game more than Luka's. Luka, I don't like his play style. I don't like his attitude. I don't like anything about his game specifically, other than the fact that he beats up on the Clippers, which I didn't like in the beginning, but now that they got James Harden, I do like that. But yeah, that is my conclusion to my top point guards, ranking all of them, top 30 point guards. I hope you enjoyed. Obviously, we're not going to agree on everything, but you know, that's life. You're not going to agree on everything. But I do hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. And if you want to tune in to the shooting guards and every other position, don't forget to turn on post notifications. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. As I said in the video, here's the link to a De'Aaron Fox video where I just talk about and glaze him for like 8 or 10 minutes. I don't even remember. And then this is my in-season tournament predictions video right here.